Zach, how would you evaluate the Edwin Diaz trade now?
I don't think very differently about it than I thought at the time. At the time, it was shocking to the whole industry. It felt like a massive overpay by the Mets. And just because Kalanick hasn't lived up to his expectations doesn't change my opinion of it, because he was one of the most valuable prospects in the game at the time. I'm confident they still could have gotten Diaz by taking on Cano without having to give up a prospect of that level. And then they would have had that prospect to be able to go out and improve their team in other ways. So I still think, even though they haven't gotten burned where he became a superstar player, I still think of it as a value deal. It wasn't a good deal for the Mets.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. You've been in that seat a lot, Zach, and I'm not going to. I will say that I appreciate at the time, as someone who'd been around the Mets for quite a while, covering them, that they were willing to do something, kind of go big and bring in some star power. And obviously Diaz, the contract that he signed hasn't worked out to date, but the years that he was under contract after that trade worked out quite well, other than 2019 when he single-handedly blew a pennant race. So I guess that's a mixed bag too, now that I'm talking it out. But I appreciated that Brodie came in kind of swashbuckling, saw himself as a disruptor in that way. But yes, if you're going to trade Kalanick at that time with the value he had, why not shop him around is another question. I remember at the time he had Cano as a client. He believed in him. He was very enthusiastic about trading for Cano, and that didn't work out for the Mets. So that's where we are. And Diaz did.
You almost did that thing again where you talked yourself into something else, right?
I do that sometimes, yeah. Yes, as you know.
I love the point that you made, though, with it being bold, right? Because that's what I appreciated at the time. I was like, whoa, this is different. And I appreciate different, right? In a field where there's a lot of groupthink involved and, you know, we have a lot of shared opinions about things, and rightfully so. They make sense sometimes. I appreciated the Mets being willing to go for something different, and they saw in those prospects that they traded at the time that those guys were not going to help them in those next couple of years. And thinking back, remembering back, that was one of the big reasons why they decided to do that. My thing was, hey, if you're going to take on that amount of money for Robinson Cano, you better be getting something more than that, I felt like, just because you're trading away some top prospects there and you're absorbing a large amount of money. And you're not really supposed to be doing both of those things sometimes when you're making those types of deals.
One of my favorite games to play, it's also a very dangerous game. I play it in life and on this show, is what could have happened. So, Andy, how close was Jeff McNeil to being included in that trade?
He was in the trade. Jeff McNeil was on his way to Seattle, and at the very last minute, I remember this so clearly because we were on air a lot that night because it was such a big trade. And again, coming out of the Mets not doing much dramatic for several years, this was big news here and in the coverage of the team. So we were popping on at like, this part I'm estimating, but let's say we were on at 11 o'clock and I'm reporting on the air, Jeff McNeil's in this trade. There was a trade package that myself and a few other reporters in New York were able to get, and it was that whole thing, except instead of Batista, it was McNeil. That got public, and I believe that there was enough backlash publicly before the deal was finalized. They were in medical phase, is my understanding, where the Mets got cold feet about putting McNeil in the deal, and they asked the Mariners, hey, can we swap out Batista for McNeil? And the Mariners were like, well, yeah, you're taking Cano. You can have we can do whatever else you want, basically. That was my understanding at the time. I believe it's your understanding too, Zach.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, McNeil was a Mariner, and then very much at the last second he wasn't.